Okay.
How's it going, gentlemen?
Hey, John.
Good. How are you?
What's going on? How are you?
And we are doing well. Thank you, man. And prompt. Look at that. Early even. That's awesome.
You know, it's funny. We were just actually having like a really deep intellectual conversation about how you can't practice blast beats for 8 hours a day.
Physically, you can't do that.
You can't do that. And we decided we needed to stop it and we needed to join in on the conversation. So
Well, that's great. That's fantastic. Well, I would expect nothing less than a deep philosophical conversation with a name like Pathos and Logos, you know.
oh,
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it was one of the questions I was going to ask in the show. I thought, no, that's kind of silly. Like, if you ever became a trio, would it be Pathos, Logos, and Athos?
Oh,
No.
well, our joke for it is that Ethos invested in Apple in the 80s and he doesn't need us anymore. So
There you go. Right. Yeah. Because I one of my jobs is an English composition instructor. So when we do an argument, I teach my students how to look at how arguments are made, and it's appeals to Logos and Ethos and Pathos, and how they work together to create a good argument. You know, you can't just use Pathos alone, because you gotta have some Logos behind that.
that's true.
that's right.
Yeah, it's very true. Yeah.
So it is great to meet you. Thank you for taking the time to spend with us tonight.
Thanks for having us, man. It's good. We're happy to be here.
Oh yeah, we're super pumped, man. Like it's we've kind of like wound down the touring itinerary for the year.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to be able to kind of do these things again. I mean, we'd done some interviews from the cab of a U-Haul box truck earlier this year.
That is real. We did
Wow.
an interview from the inside of a U-Haul box truck in Columbia, South Carolina.
Wow.
So it is much nicer to do it here.
Yeah, it's
In the
funny you
comfort
say
of our
that,
own home.
because our usual interview, we usually broadcast from a U-Haul box truck. So that's
Oh.
kind of where, no, that's right. That's great though. I mean, that's nice to be settled in. Tour's all done. Now you can kind of rest for a little while. You know, that's nice. Yeah, we're getting ready to do the same. Actually, we've been doing this show steadily for about the last 18 months. This is episode, what is it, Chop? 85, something like that. 80,
Yeah.
yeah. So we're looking forward to taking some downtime. We got 2 more weeks shows, and then we're gonna take a couple 3 months off and just get a breather. So it's nice to do that.
Hell yeah.
You have to.
Yeah, you do.
You know, on a long enough timeline, you have to.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. So well, listen, we don't want to keep you forever. We have a lot of fun questions. Did Nikki tell you anything about our format or at all, or anything of the sort?
She just kind of hinted at his like it'd be horror movies, heavy metal, and a lot of fun. And so here we are.
Okay, well, fantastic. Yeah, we do that. One of our members isn't here tonight. He's doing the grandpa duties with all of his young little grandkids. So but we're just a bunch of friends. We've known each other. I mean, Chop and I have known each other, 35 years, something like that. And the other guy, our team, Dreadbull, we've known each other for 45 years. So we're just a bunch of longtime friend knuckleheads who like to bust each other's balls and have fun. And
That's awesome.
yeah. And the fact that we get to talk with guys like yourselves, I mean, that's more than we ever expected out of this podcast. And when it started happening, we're just like, okay, this is kind of crazy, right? I mean, do you know what we're getting to do? So it's just really awesome. We appreciate it.
Well, we've been having a blast doing this stuff. I mean, heavy metal and horror are 2 of our favorite things. So
That's a complete protein, actually. Right there.
Yeah.
Heavy metal, you know what
I
mean?
know you can't have one
Yeah.
without the other, can you? I mean,
no, you really can't.
and when you combine them sometime, looks like Chomp Tom. I think his internet just went out. So we'll wait till he comes back in. But no, that's awesome. Yeah, I totally agree. I like when you can even combine them, some of the good cheesy heavy metal movies or horror movies that are about heavy metal bands, you know.
That's right, dude. That's
Yeah,
right.
or you forget the name of it now. It's I want to think it's like Swedish or Norwegian, this black metal band like Summons the Devil or something like that. It's like a horror comedy. And it's like, oh, okay, black metal and Satan and horror. Like, what more do you want,
Dude,
Give it to me.
it's funny that you say that. I think about that. He and I talk about this all the time. So in addition to doing Pathos and Logos, I play for a bunch of local blues bands out here in Colorado. And the guitar player, my buddy John from this one band, beautiful, elegant, like true country blues guitar. Guy's obsessed with horror. And so that I feel it's like seeing a unicorn. He gets up and he's ripping this beautiful solo, like we're playing, I don't know, Sweet Home Chicago or something like that. He's up there and he's like, dude, I watched The Thing again today. Like, and I'm just like, you're some kind of anomaly, dude. Like, you should be a metal guy. Like, but instead he's all with Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Well, in his defense, I mean, The Thing is a classic. I actually was thinking about the movie The Thing just last night.
Yeah, I watched the jet. How many of those movies from the batch from the 50s, like The Thing from Outer Space and The Fly, that got remade in the 80s. There was the Blob that they did in 88 too. Yeah.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Right. That came out in 78. Yeah, Invaders from Mars. A lot of those were fairly successful. I like the original Invaders from Mars, and I love The Thing from Another World. The original. I mean,
sure.
You just can't get better than that as far as pure 50s sci-fi. It is one of the best, written and acted. And I just love the way the dialogue. Everyone's kind of stepping on one another's dialogue, and it's just beautiful. Howard Hawks has his hands all over that one.
Dude, I did my homework on Earth versus the Spider like a year or two ago, and the big shitty superimposed tarantula, but just the image of the spider in black and white wasn't menacing enough. So there was that track of a guy going, and I'm like, what was that? What would that guy say if he was on a date? So what do? Oh, I was the guy in Earth versus the Spider who was making the weird gargling noises as the monster approached on screen,
Well, they got to be saying something. Well, yeah, when they're that big, you probably hear them, Yeah, that was just on. I think that was just on during Halloween week. Turner Classic and a lot of the movie channels have these great movies on, and that was one of the ones that was on. I love that. Earth versus the Spider. I'll just put it on every day. It's just classic. So, well, listen, guys, let's. We're going to do our great, amazing intro, and then we're going to get right to asking some questions. How's that?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
I love it.
Excellent. All right.
Hey, this is Daniel DK from Exciter, Diamonds, Banger TV, and way too many other things to list. And you are listening to Heavy Metal Horror.
I am Montag, Master of Illusion. What goes up must come down, but not always.
Hey, this is Chop Top. Keep it heavy.
And you are watching and listening to Heavy Metal Horror. Oh, Chop, you're breaking up, man. The internet.
I don't know what's happening with my phone. I don't know what's happening.
We had this problem last time.
Yeah, I switched even from the Wi-Fi to data, and I'm still getting shit. So I don't know. Am I still breaking up?
It's not as bad. No, man, it's not as bad.
Okay. Now let's keep my mouth shut. Everybody likes that anyway. So.
Yes, that would be the best thing for the show. Finally, after a year and a half.
Yeah, fuck.
Let the talent do the work.
The talent.
All right, guys. Hey, we want to welcome Pathos and Logos to Heavy Metal Horror, guys. Thank you for taking some time to spend with us.
Right on. Thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah, this is exciting. Would like to start with broad questions and some background questions. So, when did you guys first get into music?
Ooh.
Well, I mean, I think it's probably fair to say I don't think we stood a chance at doing anything else. My mom had me listening to the Beatles and the Everly Brothers, pretty much in the womb. So
yeah, and I moved around a lot as a kid between Alaska, Georgia, Colorado, Washington State. And so my best friend became my cassette Walkman. And my mother was always open to letting me buy music, even at a young age. So, I mean, I would tell you I first started getting into music in like 87 and 88 with like, 80s pop music for sure. And then that kind of, I don't know, elaborated from there, I guess, like started getting like Motley Crue singles and, Green Day, things like that. Yeah.
Stuff with distorted guitar.
Stuff with distorted
Sure.
guitars. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what attracted you to progressive metal as a genre?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Yeah, that we've not gotten that one before.
Yeah, we haven't gotten that one before.
That's
I guess
I find that hard to believe. I mean, you guys are a progressive metal duo. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
No, I know it might sound counterintuitive, but no one has ever asked us what drew us to progressive metal specifically.
Welcome
my
to
part-
the real podcast, gentlemen.
Right. You're on
You
the
were
back.
messing up before. You're finally in the right place.
Yes.
You know it.
The truth of the matter is, man, is like I know for myself that I obviously I like a lot of metal stuff, definitely kind of in that thrash and early death metal camp. But I also have a jazz background. You know what I mean? I played in a bunch of trios and quartets back in New Jersey. I'm originally from New Jersey, going to Philadelphia and New York and stuff and playing jazz. So the metal in a certain way, it's not exclusively doing this, but one of the pathways or avenues that it has started to take is very similar to me to the path that jazz took. Like in the 30s, you had the dance bands, and then those cats ended up getting sick of playing all the same charts. So they packed into these bars and clubs until 1 o'clock in the morning, and they came up with bebop. Now, I'm sure that you would agree, on the subject of progressive metal, it started to turn into that. It started to become listening music. You've got, guitar players with degrees in jazz performance going out and buying 8 strings and starting bands. And so I just liked the idea of it being like a living, moving language that, that it wasn't static. It's not museum music, that you can still change things and take risks and stuff. So you get to just stretch out. It's cool.
And I have a one-word answer for you. Meshuggah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Meshuggah.
Yeah, that's Meshuggah's probably my all-time favorite metal band.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, at that time in my life, I was listening to much, like blues-inspired metal or rock, and even like new metal and stuff like that. And then a dude at a record store handed me a Meshuggah CD, the Chaosphere album. And yeah, after that, it was all about, polyrhythms, time signatures, playing fast, playing slow, just the technicality and the prog of it all just kind of came to the forefront for me.
And that record specifically, to be that uncompromisingly heavy, but still feature that much variety and creativity, that's hard to do.
I mean, that's why I could almost say, I could pinpoint it. Meshuggah. Meshuggah is definitely the fork in the road for me.
I was in the parking lot of Vintage Vinyl in Fords, New Jersey.
Shout out Vintage Vinyl.
What's up? And my buddy Scott played me the Contradictions, Collapse, and None EPs. And I remember, as an 18-year-old kid listening to it and being like, this is so objectively superior to what so many other bands are doing. Why doesn't everyone do this? Well, it turns out that it's because Meshuggah doesn't suck at music. They're pretty good.
Yeah. You go beyond the 3 chords. La Bamba and ROCK in the USA. It's the same. Same 3 chords. But there's nothing wrong with that. AC/DC has made a shit ton of money by playing the same bluesy 5 chords. In every song. Motorhead has made was a legendary band, and the Ramones, with a simple hook. It's nothing wrong with that. But I'm with you in there. I mean, both Chop and I, we love progressive metal as well, and because it's the journey. As a musician myself, it's I appreciate watching other musicians go, oh, okay, wow, fuck, that's just amazing.
Yeah.
So.
You also touched on something there, Montag, about on the subject of just ACD, Phil Rudd with the big gigantic 4 rack toms, and and the heads on those things are still probably from the late 70s. The guy's taken 5 drum fills in 50 years. But
Right.
although it is true, it's it's exciting to play this challenging music. That's something that I'll say a way to say it is we try to stay conscientious of the fact that what you are saying is true. A band like AC/DC or the Stones or the Beatles and stuff like that, it doesn't have all those moving parts that you get with a band like Animals as Leaders or Chon or something. But they've got a very broad reach. Like it's rare is the person who either has never heard of or doesn't like at least one song by these classic acts.
Yeah, totally.
Right. Whereas
you-
other
what do you
bands are a little
guys-
more ephemeral, like not a lot of people follow Opeth, where I think they're one of the most exciting bands around. But then you
Oh,
listen
yeah.
to everyone, like they'll know Black and Black, but like Blackwater Park, what are you talking about? I get it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Blackwater
What are some
Park
of
is
your-
my favorite Opeth album for sure.
Yeah. Excellent.
I was going to
Excellent.
ask you guys, what are some of your favorite progressive metal bands that you really enjoy just listening to, or that have influenced you maybe, or?
Totally. Yeah. Well, I know for me, I mean, Meshuggah's got to be like number one up there for me because that was the catalyst for kind of getting me into this kind of music. And then from there, I mean, I'd be lying to you if I told you I liked every single Animals as Leaders album. But The Joy of Motion and that very first Animals as Leaders, I think it's just called Animals as Leaders. Right?
That might be just the
It's got
self-titled.
it's got capo. Yeah, self-titled.
Yeah.
Both of those are like amazing albums if you ask me. Angel Vivaldi puts out great stuff too. I'm a real big fan of his. Personally, I like bands and artists in the genre that don't just rely on their technical abilities. Like if they can work a hook or a singable, memorable melody into the song, you've got me. Like I'm a sucker for it. You got me.
Yeah. I got to come with you on that, man. I mean, I definitely like Meshuggah. I like Animals as Leaders and stuff. Band Chon, Polyphia, Intervals. You've got these amazing artists, Pliny.
Yeah.
But as you said, every single selection doesn't always appeal because although it's absolutely mind blowing what some of these world class musicians can play, you've got to have something to hold on to. That song Physical Education.
Oh yeah.
It gives you something, dude.
Yeah.
So
Right. But you can appreciate they're pushing those boundaries of art, in their slam. It's like with David Bowie. It's like, I love David Bowie, but not everything he does is something like, there's some hit and miss, but I still love the fact that he's pushing boundaries for his own art. Like he's trying things. He's happy and satisfied. Just like with a lot of the bands that you're mentioning, it's like, I love that they're taking risks and they're making themselves happy. So, that's pretty awesome in and of itself,
You are exactly right about that. You know what? Actually, the very same guy, my buddy Scott, who showed me Meshuggah at first, has a kind of a good philosophy that's congruent with what you were saying. And it's something that I believe is that, like even your favorite artists, if they're staying true to their vision and they're pushing those boundaries like you describe, you shouldn't like everything that they do. There's going to be certain things that either leave you cold or a little lukewarm because they're riding the wave of what they want to be doing.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
That's I think we've touched down on something important there. And I'm super attracted to bands and artists that push the envelope just for the sake of pushing the envelope. Even if they're a country artist, if they're pushing the envelope for country music, awesome. You've got my attention. I'm going to support what you're doing. And so Paul's correct. Like if it's just kind of like homeostasis when you're listening to your favorite band, then maybe they're not really pushing the envelope that much,
Yeah. Right. No, I agree. I'm going to mention a band. I've never done this before. Well, maybe a few suggestions. There's a band. Have you ever heard of Shaolin Death Squad?
No.
I have heard that name, but I've not heard any of it.
It's the famous Shaw Brothers movie from the 70s, but there's this band. The drummer is Matt Thompson, the drummer for King Diamond. This is his progressive melodic metal band that's a rough estimate of it. I'm going to suggest just go to YouTube. You can find it there. The album Intelligent Design.
Okay.
If you're going to hear that first album is going to hook you. because it's got like the harmonies that you hear from like King's X or those kinds of bands. You hear these lush harmonies, almost like Beatle-like, but then you have these really intricate, syncopated, like melodic sections that goes into like death metal blast beats with both death metal singing and clean singing. And every song is just kind of this journey, like, oh, where are we going to go with this song? Intelligent Design, Shaolin Death Squad.
They all come out dressed like ninjas too, don't they?
Yeah, they wear, and in concert they're all
They do.
wearing their ninja uniforms, and there's a playthrough. Matt Thompson has a video where he's just playing the drums through for one of the songs on there. It's called was a terrible way to use a sword or something like that. It's great. But he's just doing his playthrough wearing his black ninja costume, playing that. But yeah, I came across them just kind of accidentally after talking with Matt. Matt was on our show earlier this year, and I'm like, oh God, Shaolin Death Squad, these guys are amazing. So
That's great.
yeah. So if you like them, if you listen to them, we'd love to know what you think.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll check it out. We'll shoot you a message.
Now,
Excellent, thanks.
You know what I'm going to say.
Tell it to me.
I have endless respect for bands that come out and they're in some kind of full costume or regalia or something. You know where I'm going with this already. About 11 or 12 years ago, I was briefly, probably the lion's share of a year, 8 or 9 months, I was the drummer for a Jersey thrash band. I think they were on Nuclear Blast at the time. Called Swashbuckle, where every song was about being a pirate. We all dressed up as pirates.
Nice.
So
That's
the ninja thing is, if you're head to toe, man, that's gonna
the
get
full
hot on
face,
stage, dude.
full face, like you can't see who they are. I think it's brilliant. Yeah, I would have trouble, like, I can't, the guys in Gwar, they wear all this stuff. It's like there's just so much there. As a drummer and guitarist, it's like, I don't want anything obscuring my ability to move, but yeah, these guys are brilliant. But that's good. So Jersey, so you must be have grown up around with the Smithereens. They're a huge Jersey band.
Oh yeah, dude. The Smithereens, I think, formed in a town that was only like an hour or so away from where I grew up, dude.
Yeah,
they were really, really good.
Such a great band.
Yeah.
So well, let's talk a little bit about your creativity and process. You're a duo, so how did you decide to stay a two-piece band?
Well, I guess, we really didn't make the decision to do it. We were kind of forced into this situation. We've always played in more traditional bands, whether it be a 3-piece, a 4-piece, singers, whatever. And the latest iteration of the instrumental prog band that we were doing was this band called The Caveat. And the bass player that we had with us is an excellent bass player. His name's Nick Schaefer. And what can we say? He got hired by Elon Musk and Tesla. And he literally came to a show one night. We played a sold out show down in Denver. And he walks in and he's like, well, boys, I'm going to have to fly out like tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. because I got hired by Elon. And he left all his gear behind and everything. So yeah, exactly. So, and then the lead guitar player we had at the time, because I've been a rhythm player my entire life, but the lead guitar player that we had at the time is Mikey Stansel, the fellow who is the lead guitar player for the band Legion on Metal Blade. And they're busy touring and doing their whole thing. So it ultimately just ended up being distilled down to the two of us. And we found that we got so much more done as the two of us, because Paul and I were always the ones that were really kind of pushing the band and trying to get out and stuff like that. And once it was just us, we were able to go and do that. It was almost like the reins were taken off of us in a way.
Yeah.
And we just went crazy, man. We just went absolutely nuts.
Yeah, it was surprising to discover.
Okay. Is that why you also chose to be like an instrumental band as well? Because of the freedom of not having to worry about writing lyrics?
I would say that that's a significant portion of it. Yeah. Like we were already kind of in the realm of the progressive thing, and a little bit of not wanting to worry about lyric writing, but also honestly, it was to my mind, it was almost the principal motivation was to keep it just us. Like oh man, gotta text the group, the band text thread, and you just text one guy. Like
Yeah.
it's real easy to have a band meeting. Kyle, you want to go play in Texas? Okay, and then you can go.
And then you're going. And it just made it a lot easier to kind of move around. But to further answer your question, the band that we were in before was made almost to highlight this really young hotshot lead guitar player, Mikey Stansel. The dude's amazing. And so, when it got to be where he was just out so much that we were handicapped and couldn't go out and do anything, I had to put on my big boy pants and learn to play some solos, or just basically take that hat and run with it. And since then, we've had a lot of people like offer to do vocals and stuff like that and ask, but I don't know if I don't want to say never, but
I could see us doing some other project with more personnel.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like Pathos and Logos is pretty much just going to stay this is the brain trust right here.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Why muck up a good song with horrible lyrics, right? Yeah. I mean, we don't want to like Britney Spears this, while if we can avoid it. We don't need Mariah Carey coming in and right.
Don't need
No,
a lot of
definitely
Kiss lyrics
not.
either. Yeah, a lot of Kiss lyrics would be good too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, throw in some random Kiss lyrics. That'd be a great album. Take all the Kiss lyrics, put them in one line time, throw in a bucket, and like pull them randomly out of a bin and make up a song. That would be fantastic.
Lick it up
On Pathos and Logos' seventh record, Kiss of Death.
See, that's awesome. Kiss my pathos, right? Let's talk. You said you were finishing up touring. Let's talk a little bit about that touring. As far as when you're playing out, do you prefer smaller, intimate venues or larger arenas? From a fan's point of view, being so close to a band is fantastic. But what's it like from your point of view?
I'll bend that one, I guess, to take it first. So, playing like in a festival setting or something like that is always awesome. That's hard to beat. But there is really something nice about playing, like a small intimate venue and the place just being packed out. People are right in your face. You can touch them, you can see them, you can look them right in the eye, and to see the satisfaction on people's faces right in front of your face as it's happening, that's cool, because you don't get that immediate response when the crowd is fucking 30 feet from you. You know what I mean? It's inherent in people being that far away from you.
Yeah, I almost just ditto. I think both kind of situations have their own individual charm. Cool as it is, like Kyle was saying, to be up on the big stages and stuff, there's something about the intimate setting. I know for my part of that is having a positive association with playing like jazz and fusion gigs and those like really small, tightly packed places. There's something to it.
And for me, I know I don't look like it, but I grew up like a hardcore kid. I loved East Coast hardcore music. And so that was one of the reasons I moved out to Jersey in the first place, and how I ended up meeting Paul. I went to Jersey because of that hardcore scene that was happening up in the Northeast at that time. And man, there's something about those hardcore shows where you just pack a bunch of kids in a fucking warehouse and throw some amps over in the corner and let people go nuts. It's a different kind of energy, man. Like it's apples and oranges, honestly.
Yeah, it's almost like playing. I was in a lot of bands when I was in college, and there's some of the good little bar gigs, but you also play house parties, and that has that energy too. It's like way too loud for the house. The cops are gonna show up eventually, but you're having the best fucking time you've ever had. And it's like the same drum kit, amplifiers, and like everyone's gonna play 5 songs, and so no, I totally get it. Okay, still touring. What's your favorite food to eat on the road?
Oh, this is a good question. It's funny you would bring that up, because we eat out so much on the road, and that we've been out on the road so much this year that we started our own like YouTube series about it.
I saw a little bit of that, like traveling. I'm like, okay, because we usually ask people what they like to eat on the road, because these are the kind of things that we want to know. Like you get the same 10 questions every time you do an interview. We're trying to do something a little different,
So this year I've grown an affinity towards waffles for whatever reason. Maybe it's because when you in Texas, if you stay at a Days Inn in Texas, they have these waffle makers where you make waffles in the shape of Texas. And
They must be really big too. I mean, they can't be small.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's a lot of waffle.
It's a lot of waffle, dude. Just like, rows of these Texas-sized waffle makers. And so, the waffles have been hitting the spot this year.
Yeah, you've eaten a lot of waffles. So we went to a place just a couple of weeks ago in Oklahoma City called Waffle Champion.
Yes.
It was amazing.
It was really, really good, you guys. I would champion Waffle Champion
Yes.
as one of the best places that we ate out on the road this year.
I'll give you that. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The fucking place was great.
It was
awesome.
dope, dude. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
We went there twice. We went there 2 days in a row.
We came back. It was so good.
Yeah,
dude.
straight up.
Nice. So what is one of your most outrageous touring stories you can share? We like hearing road stories, and we have heard the gambit of like insane kind of stuff that some people said, are you still recording this? Like I can edit it out. So what's the most insane road story that you can share with us?
Well, so there's a couple to pick from, but I mean, this is relatively recent. What instantly comes to my mind was Austin, dude.
What do you mean?
We had played in Austin. You had that sandwich, and then you threw your fucking guts up all night long, and then wake up in the morning, and he's like, Paul, someone died in this bathroom. Like, he's like, I was in there for hours.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the more I examine, the more I realize that's blood. That's definitely human blood. Oh, that is for fucking sure some blood. Blood, like holes in the walls, weird shit like in the corners of the room.
This was all there pre-vomiting or post-vomiting?
Oh no, this was pre-vomit for sure.
Okay, so you walked into a murder scene then. Okay.
Yeah. It's like somebody was conducting some blood rite in the bathroom and did a terrible fucking job of cleaning up after themselves.
What's funny is neither of us noticed until I got sick that night, and I was spending so much time up close and personal with that fucking toilet that as I'm like looking around, like I just see there's blood everywhere. Blood everywhere.
You don't have your black light spectrum to see the whole spectrum of other bodily fluids laying around. It's probably for the better,
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Again.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't want to
Guys,
again. Yeah.
Guys, I got another one for you. You'll get a kick out of this.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, so a couple of years ago, I don't remember how many years ago this was now, but we played Area 51 Festival. And so in the midst of playing, I think it was a cover of Love Song.
It was the Obsidian Expanse.
Is that what it was? Okay.
We were playing Obsidian.
We were playing a song called Obsidian Expanse. And this dude, somehow he was able to get up on stage. And, I thought he was giving me a hug. And so he gets his arms around me. And once he did, he reaches in, screamed in my ear, and then bit down on my right ear, and he bit through it. And
was his name Tyson by any chance?
we don't know what that dude's name was. He got kicked off stage, and then he like disappeared out into the crowd. And it was just a bad situation. I had to go and get so many shots and stuff for it. I still have a scar on my ear where this dude just like bit through my ear, and it continues to haunt me because we put up a YouTube video just not even a month ago. And one of the comments on that YouTube video is, "Hey, how was your ear?"
Oh,
I know.
Yeah, we're Pathos and Logos, not Lobos, right? Yeah. Wow. Well, that you have it still intact is awesome. And that's a terrifying story. I mean,
it really is.
Passionate fans, I guess,
Well, the guy was on some bizarre cocktail of drugs. Like we had access that day to an RV. It was in the state of Colorado, so we traveled down in this RV. And so we're like self-contained, we're doing our thing. Kyle's tending to his ear and stuff. Then this fucking guy, like something from a George Romero film, walks up and starts climbing up into the RV. I literally, gentlemen, Wesley Snipes kicked this motherfucker in his chest, dude. And he was just primal screaming, fucking, just running. He was falling. Boys, we're all adults. We're people of the world here.
Yeah.
When I tell you that this human was repeatedly standing up, screaming, and then falling flat on his face, like he was prostrating himself before the god of injury over and over again. This man would get up and then fall flat on his fucking face. And and he was like fucking like it was like he was hitting on girls in a creepy way and stuff. It took a while for the security to get the guys out of it. That's the one thing I would say is that dude was allowed to stay way too long. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like he might have just been coming back from Burning Man, with a little too much
What
burning.
an asshole. Yeah.
It was like he was going through the transformation when Evil gets stabbed in Fright Night, and he's just screaming and flailing
wow.
all over the place.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Less dramatic was the transformation scene in An American Werewolf in London.
There you go.
Less dramatic.
Yeah, because
was
you
that
knew you
scene.
expected that. You knew it was coming.
That's right.
Right. And
Yes,
it had better
that's right.
background music, I mean,
They-
Creedence playing come on. All right, guys, we're gonna switch gears a little bit. I'm gonna ask you some hypothetical situations here. All right. Okay. An alien shows up and asks you to represent metal in 3 songs. What would those songs be and why?
Do we have to perform the songs, or do we just like
No,
play-
you just
play
say
them
it. No,
back?
you just let them know. Like, hey, they're looking for a list.
This race is just mining for information about humankind and this particular subgenre of music.
Got it. Okay. There has to start with a Black Sabbath track,
Sure.
right? Has to start with a Black Sabbath track. Man, 3 songs, huh?
That's wild, man. Yeah.
I'd say you'd have to go with a Black Sabbath track. I mean, this is just me. I would throw Ace of Spades by Motorhead in there, and then give them something a little more modern, like, I don't know, what band is like crushing it? Like, I don't know, maybe a Lamb of God track or something like that.
Sure. Yeah. Wow. I would start with something like a Sabbath track, like I don't know, Snowblind or Symptom of the Universe or something, and then like one by Metallica, and then maybe like a Meshuggah song. That's it's appealing, the idea of like, here's 3, it presents some kind of continuum.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't have had Frederick Thorndahl if you didn't first have Tony Iommi.
Totally.
Yeah.
You're 100% right. Yeah, those are good. His are better than mine. Let's go with
Yeah,
his.
every tuned down guitar, we have to thank Iommi for that.
That's right.
100%,
Exactly.
dude.
Exactly right. Okay, if you could cover an entire album and play it live, which album would it be?
Oh, that one's easy for me. So I had a guitar teacher when I was younger, and he was murdered. So after that, I never took lessons again, but I would just learn to play albums from start to finish. So there's numerous albums that I can play note for note from start to finish. But my favorite one of all time that I could actually play and rehearse it back to you would be Around the Fur by the Deftones. Like, every single note, start to finish, even the hidden track.
I would. Now buckle up, because they're gonna revoke my metal card for this, boys. They're gonna take it away from me. I would, if I could, cover the entire, wait for it, Spin Doctor's Pocket Full of Kryptonite record.
Wow. Okay, I did not.
Yeah.
I did not expect that one. That's a very poppy, happy album.
Yeah, dude.
We listened to a lot of Spin Doctor's Pocket Full of Kryptonite on the record, fellas.
That album made it into my brain in that like crucial, like 11 to 14 years old window.
Right.
At a time when I hadn't really fully discovered metal yet. I was only sort of peripherally aware of it when I was that young. And so like it just, of all albums, that album made the kind of like baby duck impression on me.
Sure. Right.
So, and as fate would have it, they're also all killer musicians. You know what I mean? Aaron Comas on drums and, you know, Chris Barron singing. Yeah, they're great, man. They're definitely talented musicians, whether you appreciate their music or you don't.
Yeah.
So I would go with that one. Yeah.
Coincidentally enough, I grew up liking Spin Doctors a lot too. It's not like my Desert Island Record or anything like that, but when he's like, hey, I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I love Pocket Full of Kryptonite. I was like, I love Pocket Full of Kryptonite too, dude.
Yeah, like coming out of the Pocket Full of Kryptonite closet, just being like, please don't ask me to have my tattoos removed.
Yeah.
Like,
no, that's awesome. That's good. That's good. When we had mentioned earlier, we were talking, you know, you're horror fans. That's fantastic. So I'd like to hear what some of your favorite horror movies are. We already discussed The Thing, and Fright Night. I remember you mentioning. So what are some of your favorite horror movies that you remember? You know, either from childhood or just like, oh yeah, these are my favorite go-tos.
Boy, I mean, it's tough to not list like every single.
You're right. Well, I mean, it is a horror podcast.
It's true.
Like, I'm
right,
sure
heavy metal and horror. We got time. Yeah. Actually, our next show we're doing later on this evening. We're talking with King Fowley of Deceased, and we're gonna be talking about Hammer and Amicus movies. So we're doing a whole show on Hammer films.
Nice.
So, yeah,
that's cool.
That is cool.
That is cool. Well, okay, so I guess like favorite horror movies. I mean, man, lately I've been watching a lot of 80s vampire movies. So like, I don't know if it's just the nostalgia thing behind it or whatever, but like, I wouldn't say they're necessarily all my favorite, but yeah, Fright Night, Lost Boys. I just watched the Lost Boys yesterday again. Monster Squad. You know, it's kind of hard to fuck with Monster Squad from back in the day. More current movies. I mean, man, Prometheus. I thought Prometheus. I don't know if that technically falls into horror, sci-fi horror, kind of thriller, but
Alien skirts that. Alien definitely skirts that. You know, certainly.
That Prometheus. I thought Prometheus is. I mean, this is going to sound bad, but I almost liked it better than any of the other Alien movies in the franchise. If you want to lump it in with them,
it's a solid movie. Yeah, I like it.
I thought it was great.
Very good.
And then you know what, man, the classics for me always when I was growing up as a kid, and even through this day, Nightmare on Elm Street. Like I just love Nightmare on Elm Street. Of the slasher films, that's my favorite character. That's my favorite franchise. And,
yeah, those first two movies are definitely have that quality, and it gets silly as it goes. But that's expected. But yeah, those first two movies, I think the second one actually arguably a better movie. But you know, those are both fun. Yeah,
agreed. I mean, Freddy's Revenge, Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is super graphic, and like you could argue that Freddy Krueger, I think, is probably the scariest in Freddy 2. He looks the scariest to me, you know. It's just kind of a funny movie because, you know, Freddy's like taking over dude's body. He's like possessing somebody. It's not really like, I don't know, it doesn't like obey the Freddy Krueger rules or whatever.
Right.
But the one I prefer, actually maybe even the most, because it gets away from the comedy aspect, is Wes Craven's New Nightmare, where everybody plays themselves. Oh, yeah. I loved that movie,
dude. And to your point, Robert Englund looks, I think, terrifying in that as well. Just
agreed. Yeah, they updated his makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he almost looks like bigger, almost like a professional wrestler in Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I liked that movie. I haven't read the book.
You go watch that movie today.
I already did.
Nice. Well, speaking of 80s vampire movies, what's your take on Near Dark?
I mean, it's how do you fuck with Near Dark? You know what I mean? It's not my favorite, but I guess
we got the cast from Aliens in here, you know. It's like carries over. Yeah, I like the premise. It's this traveling group. It's like a band of gypsy vampires, you know, and that the kind of Wild West vampire. It came out at the same time as Lost Boys and got lost because Lost Boys was the MTV movie, you know. It was carried, you know, with all the music, and you know, it was the pretty looking movie. And Lost and Near Dark.
Kiefer Sutherland looked so cool.
Oh, he's fantastic. Like, great actor.
And you just kind of like took the words right out of my mouth. Like, I don't dislike that movie, but it got buried with all of that other stuff at that point in time in my life. You know what I mean? Like, I was, yeah, I guess I was just a little more, I was still pretty young. Like, I was 5 when Lost Boys came out.
Wow.
So
I'm
yeah.
so fucking old. Chop, we're man, you're so fucking old.
We're fucking dust, man.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I too have an affinity for like all like the hot, your Fright Nights and the Lost Boys and all that stuff. Gentlemen, again, they're going to revoke my horror card for this. I only just watched over the course of the last 6 months that 1975 Salem's Lot, dude.
Oh yeah.
And it blew my mind. Like I read the book and then I watched the movie, and I realized watching the movie, I was like, all right, Straker coming down the stairs was like Billy Cole coming up the stairs in Fright Night, and they're trying to kill him and he doesn't die, and they try to kill him and he doesn't die. The little kids floating outside the window asking to be let in, that's Michael floating outside the window.
In Lost Boys.
Yeah, in Lost Boys, dude. There was so much shit that, the evil, the master will kill you for this, like all that stuff like seemed, I guess I just didn't realize what a central point Salem's Lot was, man.
Yeah, I think it gets lost because it was it's a TV movie, David Soul's in it, but it's really got some creepy moments. And it's the vampire makeup, it's the Nosferatu look. It's certainly I think it does withstand time, even though it's been 45 years or 40 years or something like that, so yeah, it's still a
the teacher scene too. Teacher.
Yeah.
It's like, oh
yeah, look at me, teacher. Dude, even the TV show that came out a couple of years ago, The Strain. I remember thinking to myself, yo, the Strain was fucking cool, right?
Yes.
And one of the things that I liked about, dude, for as much as I loved like the 92 Bram Stokers and stuff like that, I liked it. I was like, dude, being a vampire is a curse. It's not supposed to be sexy, like in a certain way. Like I got almost filled up, or like, not full of, or just over. I still love the films, but I was like, can we find somebody that gets back to where like it's a curse, where it's a terrible affliction that you don't want to experience? And I saw that with The Strain, and then I'm looking at, surprise, surprise, the master, character from the Strain TV show, and I'm thinking of Salem's Lot, and I'm like, oh, somebody just like took that and like poured amphetamine on it or something, dude. Like it was wild.
Yeah, and you have that, and you mix in Richard Matheson. I don't know if you've ever read I Am Legend.
Oh, that's one of my favorite
novella.
books. Dude.
Yeah. I used to teach that in my English class. Actually, I'll be teaching that this semester as well.
That's cool.
So yeah, students are like, "Is it like the Will Smith movie?" I'm like, "No, fuck no. Forget everything you felt about that movie. The only thing about that movie is similar as the name and the fact that there's a guy and a dog and some vampires. But other than that, that's you get that sense." Matheson changed everything. I mean, Romero's zombies all come from a virus. Everything changed with Matheson's
Stephen
book.
King was inspired by Matheson.
Yeah, the Crazies. I mean, every one of those things, Matheson has just changed the game when it comes in terms of vampires and zombies and, all those kinds of things. So, we just celebrated Halloween, recently. So I want to ask you guys, growing up, what was your favorite Halloween costume to wear?
All until I was 11 or 12 years old, alternating without fail, Superman one year, Dracula the next year, just hang on to it. Dude, it's funny that you would say that, because I had a Dracula cape that was black on the outside and red on the inside. So I was like, there we go. We make the switch. I swear to you, I did that until like I was literally like 12 years old. I never wanted to be anything else other than those two things.
Why would you?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Anything less would be uncivilized. I was kind of in the same boat, actually. It's funny, we've never talked about this, but they're like kind of interchangeably year after year, I was either Freddy Krueger or Jason. And I remember at a certain point when we had moved to Colorado from Georgia, Mom was like, let's knock it off with all the Jason stuff. Like, we don't want you running around with the fake sword and the blood and everything. So she gave me a baseball bat. She was like, be Casey Jones. And I'm like, cool, I'm Casey Jones with the Jason mask still.
That's right, because he had the mask.
He had the mask on, yeah. And so there was 1 or 2 years where I was Casey Jones from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But other than that, it was always Freddy or Jason, man.
Yeah.
Nice. So what was your favorite candy to get at Halloween? The one thing that you were like, yeah, I'm going to eat all 20 of these tonight.
Butterfingers for me, dude.
Nice.
Yeah.
Straight up Butterfingers. I guess I would go with the Snickers bite size.
Yeah.
Snickers bite size. Or every now and then, you don't really see these that often, but do you guys remember like the sour cherry candies? They were like lemon heads, but they were cherries, and they're in a little box, and you get like, I don't know, 10 of them in a little box.
I remember those, dude.
They're delicious.
Yeah.
They're delicious. Somebody handed me one of those just the other day, and I was like,
Yeah, you give it a
oh
bag, they're kind of chewy. Yeah.
Oh
Right.
yeah,
Oh, nice.
so good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna make a segue to one of our games. This is a one-off question. Just gonna be at random, anything. Who's your favorite cartoon character?
Damn. I just thought of like 1,000. Yeah, how do you narrow that down? That's amazing. Hold on.
Cartoon character, huh? Yeah, I'm trying to think about like cartoons that I've watched recently here. I got out of the cartoon game pretty young.
You know what? I have never had a disparaging word to say about Daffy Duck. I would say that I'm probably a Daffy Duck man. If I had to, we'll go with the old Looney Tunes. You know?
Yeah, he's a button pusher. Yeah.
I'll go with Michelangelo, dude. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Cowabunga, dude.
Nice. All right, our first game that we'd like to play with you is called Blast Beats. Since you had mentioned playing Blast Beats, this game won't take 8 hours. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a simple question. It could be multiple choice. It could be short answer. I just want you to give me an answer as quickly as possible. All right, so here we go. Hot dog or hamburger?
Hamburger.
Favorite pizza topping?
Pepperoni.
Logos? You want to answer these two?
Sure. I'm going to go with tomato.
Okay. Paperback or Kindle?
Kindle.
Paperback.
All right. PC or Apple?
PC.
Apple.
All right. Favorite streaming service?
I'm a Netflix man. No, I want to change that to Hulu.
Okay. Hulu's great.
Got it. I'm a Spotify dude all the time.
Okay. Favorite ice cream flavor?
That's got to be the chocolate chip cookie dough, dude.
Strawberry.
Good. Avengers or Justice League?
Avengers. Even though I'm a Superman guy.
I was going to say, I'm going Justice League on that one. Yeah.
Star Trek or Star Wars?
I know we're supposed to answer quickly, but I gotta go Trek.
Yeah, I go Trek because of the card.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Excellent. Bigfoot or Loch Ness Monster?
Loch Ness Monster.
I'm gonna go with Bigfoot because I like beef jerky.
I'm going with Loch Ness Monster because the one scenario where I know for a fact that I would die of fright, I would shock myself with fear until I died, is if I was floating alone in not Loch Ness with fog over the water. Whether the thing was in there or it wasn't there, I would be so nervous that it was going to kill. I would turn off like an off switch. No.
Just right into the water.
That's right. That's right.
Dracula or Frankenstein?
Dracula.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you like your steak cooked?
Medium.
I'm actually more medium well. Yeah.
Okay. Favorite sport?
I'll go with, it's technically a sport. I'm not really a sports guy, but it made it into the Olympics. Taekwondo. I have a first degree black belt in Taekwondo.
Oh, nice. So that's how you got that crazy guy out of the bus. Nice.
It was the one and only time I've had to employ my ancient art there.
Nice.
I'm gonna go with women's beach volleyball.
Okay, there you go.
Solid fucking pick.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, I watching the Olympics. It's just like I couldn't do that. Not for $1 million fucking dollars could I run around like that and do what they do. It's like, nope.
They're all
I love
champions,
volleyball,
if you
but
ask me.
I like playing on the big team with like 6 players or 5 players. That's fine, but 2, it's like no, I'm built like a linebacker. I can't run. Don't ask me to run. Okay, favorite movie snack.
Favorite movie snack would be Milk Duds for me.
I mean, popcorn. It's hard to mess with movie theater
Yeah,
popcorn,
can't
but
fuck with
if I would differentiate popcorn from candy. So I'm going to go popcorn and then Twizzlers pull and peel.
Okay.
Yeah.
If they could make a car freshener that smelled like movie theater popcorn, yeah, I'd never leave my car.
That's
Buddy.
right.
Exactly. Okay, your favorite subject in school.
English,
Math.
Your least favorite subject in school.
math.
English.
There we go. Suddenly getting a sense of why you guys work out so well together. Your favorite board game.
I gotta go Scrabble. I'm a Scrabble man.
Chess all day long.
Nice. All right. Your favorite Christmas gift.
One year for my 60th birthday, I received for Christmas a gigantic can of SpaghettiOs with meatballs. It was exactly what I wanted, and I ate the entire thing in one sitting. So,
Nice.
it was fucking awesome.
Did you warm it up or you just eat it right out of the can?
That's lost to time now. All that I know is that I did almost wake up as if in a daze, just covered in like the remains of spaghetti and stuff. Yeah.
I'm picturing you like putting a hole in one side of the can and then just like shotgunning the spaghetti.
Yeah, opening it up and sucking it down. Yeah.
My only regret is not Michael J. Foxing it from Teen Wolf.
Yes.
That's what I should have done, dude.
Yeah, and then as your teeth popped out, then you could still eat it because they're so soft with all the gums. Even
See
with
that?
your teeth.
You can still get the reward.
That's right.
Despite it being a Pyrrhic victory. Yeah.
Right.
And for me, I would go with the first 7-string guitar that I ever got. I had it on layaway back in the day, and my parents went and paid off the rest of it. I still had like $200 left to pay on this guitar, and so I got that for Christmas one year, and it made me cry.
Yeah, it did.
It did.
Yeah, it did.
Made me cry.
Excellent. Nice. Okay, your celebrity crush.
Kate McKinnon, and she's so gay.
Salma Hayek, buddy.
Yeah.
Salma.
Yeah, that's a long line for both of those ladies right there. Yeah. I hear you.
Oh, you know what though? Christina Ricci as well. I love them both so much I can't choose.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, ladies, if you're watching and would love to join us for Heavy Metal Horror, please know you're always welcome. There you go. Right, because Pathos and Logos will probably join us again if you're going to be on. So, okay, the best concert you've ever attended.
The best concert that I ever attended, and this circles a little bit back to what we were discussing before about the difference in the size of a venue sizes. I was at a venue in Hoboken, New Jersey called Maxwell's, and I saw a Canadian vocal group called Moxie Fruvus. And for all of the other performances that I have ever seen in my life, they were perfectly in just brilliant, pristine vocal harmony. I'm a vocals guy. You know what I mean? Like part of the reason why I ended up being attracted to the drum set, it's a myriad of different reasons, but one of the reasons was after a lifetime of like asthma and sinus issues, I was like, well, Paul, your hands can't catch a cold. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to blow out your hands' vocal cords, but I sang before I did anything else. And so although I love the drum set, I've given that my life to that instrument. What I think of what the purest music is, I still to this day maintain that the purest music is the music of the human voice. And so Moxie Fruvus at Maxwell's, place isn't even there anymore, in Hoboken, New Jersey. That was the best one I've ever been to, dude.
Nice.
Okay, yeah, That's hard for me to pick. I guess the first one that comes to mind, and I'm not, I have to preface this by saying that I'm not like a big Slipknot fan, but I did see Slipknot when that first album came out and they opened up for Dope and Coal Chamber at the
Yeah,
Ogden.
Coal Chamber's
And
great.
yeah, and Coal Chamber, man. Yeah, Slipknot was opening up for them, and they couldn't even fit them on the stage. The place was so small. So it goes into talking about the small, intimate venue. Like you can't see Slipknot like that now. You're only
Right.
going to
They're
see
too
them in an
huge.
arena. They're too
Yeah,
big.
they're
Dude,
too
I
big.
saw them. I saw them in like a 500 cap room.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Chop and I went to go see Grip Inc., Dave Lombardo's.
Oh,
yeah.
no
And-
shit, dude.
Yeah, and Coal Chamber opened for them. We were
Oh,
both
okay,
thinking like,
cool.
hey, she's kind of cute. Let's you know, and that was a great show because we got there and there was nobody there, and we saw in Valdemar Sorcha was just in the corner. So we talked to him for an hour, just the three of us.
Yeah.
You know, we're like, this is
Wow.
fucking amazing. And so
Yeah.
we got on his side of the stage. He like waves to us, you know, and that was one of those few moments that I got to make a connection with,
Yeah.
you know, with the artist because
Yeah, I
between
got to
songs,
meet Raina from
yeah,
Coal
Raina, I
Chamber
know, yeah,
after the
Raina.
show.
Oh, right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
She put a like
yes.
heart on my those old singles, put a little heart there, love Raina or something. I almost got scored with her. I was kind of hoping to, but yeah, no.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I got to
I was like,
I got
"Oh,
to yell on
shit."
stage to Dave.
Yeah.
I said, Dave, I love you. I want to have your baby. And I could see him just kind of like looking down, like, oh, I'm like, yes, Dave Lombardo heard me. He knows I want to have his baby. And then like Baltimore asked us, like, it's like before they went on, it's like, hey, can you like take us to the Cleveland or the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Because we live near Cleveland. I'm like, oh, yeah, certainly. And let's after the show, let's go fucking do that. I'm like, Chop, I have no fucking clue how to get there from here. But we will find a way to get these guys to the Hall of Fame. But you know, didn't pan out. But still, we had grand dreams of hanging out. But
It was a great time.
my slight moment of fame with Dave Lombardo.
That's awesome.
Paul is a Lombardo fan.
Yeah, I'm a dyed in the wool Lombardo guy for
He's so
sure.
good.
Man.
He's so good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing I like about Grip so much is that he showed off a lot of the different types of chops that he had. It's not just a blast beat guy, not just a speed drummer, although very few drummers are going to parallel what he can do, what he did with Slayer. But he was just able to bring in all these really intricate rhythms, and that was such an underrated band, you know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They were that was Hostage to Heaven, specifically
Yes.
that song. There's something about the way when he breaks into the double kick roll. I literally every single time it's like I envision a rocket ship fucking just ascending into space.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. And they were just on fire live. I mean, it was
Oh,
just
yeah.
so great. And it was at a small venue where you could like, you know, touch them, you know, like you said, just 3 feet away, you know. So no, I get it. Well, speaking of, before we get to our last question in the blast beat, who is your favorite drummer of all time?
My favorite drummer of all time is a man called Dennis Chambers. Dennis Chambers, he's a studio musician. He's played with everybody ranging from Parliament Funkadelic to Santana, and he is a true genius of the craft. For more than I like your Lombardos and your Hoaglunds and your Sean Reinerts and stuff like that, those guys are all masters. But Dennis Chambers, even among the others that the other luminaries who get mentioned around his name, people like Vinnie Colaiuta and Dave Weckl and stuff, Dennis Chambers to me, all I'm going to say is, you know, I'm glad that you can't get sued for ripping drum licks off of somebody, because I would owe Dennis Chambers a lot of money. And don't get me
Nice.
wrong, I'm not suggesting that I can.
He's
do
an
them like he
influence.
does.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
I'm like Dennis Chambers if you ordered him off of wish.com and then put him in the microwave for 30 seconds.
Sure. Right.
So
exactly.
that's pretty much.
Yeah, it's like pizza rolls in the microwave. Like you get it. It's close enough. Right. No, I get it. I get it. Yeah. No, I totally get that. No, because I mean I learned how to play drums by playing to moving pictures. That was like, you know, so that was how I learned, by playing to music, you know. So I totally when you find someone who's your mentor, master kind of thing, you just want to mimic and you want to like learn their craft, knowing it's going to be a shallow imitation at best, but you still want to know what drives them. And no,
That's
I get
right.
that. Yeah.
That's a great way to put it, man. Yeah, you put that very well. Damn.
And a guitar. Who's your favorite guitarist?
Boy, I probably would have had an easier time answering the drum question, to tell you the truth.
If you
As
wanted to,
far
who's your
as-
favorite drummer? That's fine too. I mean, I'm totally cool with that.
Yes, I do. And I'll
Yeah.
tell you why. Because I don't necessarily have a favorite drummer per se. I've got a lot of favorites, but I have a favorite drum producer, Terry Date. And any record that Terry Date has ever engineered or produced, Paul can attest to this. I've got a massive boner for Terry Date's drums on record.
Okay, that makes all the difference in the world. Drumming, the drumming, and so they can sound everything. You can hear everything on its own, and in the mix. Yeah, that's a rare treat.
It's super hard to fuck with, and especially because you're aware, being a drummer, you've got anywhere from 8 to 12 to 16, I don't know, 32 instruments being mic'd up and having to be recorded and put into a sonic spectrum and made to fit and sound good.
Yeah, and you want every cymbal to sound like it's supposed to sound, and not just some thin wash where like no. I'm playing a Paiste root because I wanted to sound like a fucking Paiste root. Exactly. Right.
And in my opinion, Terry Date has just always delivered on drums. I mean, even going back as a kid, like some of my favorite CDs that I listened to are records like, surprise, surprise. The reason I like the drum so much is because Terry Date fucking produced those records.
Did he do Around the Fur?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Pantera, bro.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
That's
Rush
right.
as well he worked with, and
Yeah.
many others.
Dude,
Yeah.
honestly, any band, I mean, the list of his credits is so long, we'd be here all day and all night listing them off. But any band that's got an exceptional drummer, they've probably worked with Terry Date in some capacity at some point in time. It's I mean, the guy's just amazing.
Excellent.
And then I guess to quickly answer like favorite guitar players, it's really hard to fuck with Dimebag Darrell. I mean, he's just, he was the guy. I mean, I learned all of the Pantera songs once my guitar teacher was killed. That was kind of like how I learned to play after that. We even went and visited the grave sites in Arlington when we were there.
That's right.
So yeah, I'd have to say Dimebag as far as guitar players go.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. And our last question in the Blast Beats, your favorite scene from This Is Spinal Tap?
Oh, I love this question, dude.
Or if you have a favorite or a favorite line,
Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to turn this back around on you.
Okay.
Have you seen the commentary to the Spinal Tap DVD?
Both as Michael McKean, Harry Shearer, Christopher Guest, and as Spinal Tap. Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
The Spinal Tap one is like, okay, when you thought it couldn't get any funnier, it's like,
Dude.
oh fucking God, are you serious? Can we get no, you can't get it, yeah. How much
Okay,
more funny
so-
can this be? None more funny. Right.
None more funny. My favorite, okay, so my favorite line from Spinal Tap has got to be the Spinal Tap commentary on Spinal Tap, where when anybody comes up, they're like, "Oh, he's dead. Oh, he's dead. He's dead."
I had her. Yes, that's right.
She's had a bit of work.
She's had a bit of work done. Yeah.
And the scene, you know what? I gotta go with it. The scene where the drummer's in the bath. This is Mick's only recorded bath. It's such a classic movie and so funny. And then they found this way to breathe entirely new life into it. Speaking of which, so the later, like post Godzilla 1985. No, I'm sorry. This is a Gamera movie. It was Gamera Attack of Legion.
Yeah.
Have you heard? You have to have. They had the different audio tracks. You could hear it in English, you could hear it in Japanese, and then you could hear it in Texarkana.
Oh, nice. I didn't know you were a kaiju fan.
Well, dude, I mean, I'm a giant lizard stomping on a city guy for sure. Dude.
Okay. I did my master's thesis on Godzilla. So yeah.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
That's the greatest combination of words I've ever heard ever.
I have an MA in popular culture, and it was Godzilla as ideological expression in Japanese culture. So I did Shinto, I did history, I did politics, yeah. So
that's fucking
I'm a fan.
Yeah. Oh, no. Godzilla 1985, there is a high likelihood Movie City 5 on Route 18 in East Brunswick,
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
And that place long since gone. Godzilla 1985, if I remember correctly, I think that's the first movie I ever saw.
Oh
And I
yeah, what a
was
traumatic
fucking-
ending. Yeah.
I didn't stand a chance, guys. I
No,
was
no,
like,
of course.
you
Yeah,
know,
you're just
like,
gonna bawl. Like, wait a minute, Godzilla's crying and dying. No, yeah.
yeah, dude. Like the prime minister's like weeping as he's
Sure.
screeching for. Oh, it's so tragic.
Yeah.
But not as tragic as the scene at the end of Monster Squad where Frankenstein's monsters wave goodbye.
Yes.
I
It's
mean,
like
I
heartbreaking.
can't-
Like, you know he's got to go, but you don't want him to. It's like, yeah,
I
it's like,
can't even.
yeah, it's like
I
Harry and the
spit.
Hendersons.
Do you need a minute?
Yeah, yeah.
I know.
Oh,
Like, they make you
Lord.
care for these characters, and then they take them away. Like, you sons of bitches. You know, it's like, come on, man.
Bastards.
Yeah, I totally get it.
Oh,
I totally get it. Well, to
Yeah.
get you, we're gonna play another game. This is our last game we're gonna play.
Let's do it.
This one's called the hot seat, and this one
Ooh.
because it tends to make people squirm a little bit. Because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna name a band, and then I want you to tell me your favorite album by that band. Okay, so we coined it the hot seat because a lot of people got uncomfortable because they were, you know, people in the metal industry, like not knowing some of the bands and like, I've never listened to that band. They kind of felt embarrassed or whatever. It's like, no embarrassment. You like what you like. So here we go. All right, I'll start with an easy one. Black Sabbath.
I like the first record, man.
Paranoid for me.
Excellent. Judas Priest.
We just went back on Judas Priest.
Yeah. Would Screaming for Vengeance?
British Steel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Queensryche.
I'm weak on my Queensryche, man. I regret to say.
I am aware of Queensryche, but I don't like Jeff Tate, dude. I'll
Okay.
break it down for you. Yeah.
All right, no problem. Dream Theater.
Images of Words.
Same.
Okay. Iced Earth.
I've done a little bit of homework on that, but I liked what I heard, but I don't know that I could commit to a full record of I'm not as familiar.
Yeah.
Same. I couldn't name one Iced Earth record for you.
Okay. They're like Iron Maiden on steroids. You know, that's kind of how I look at them. Right.
Yeah.
Very similar.
They are an English band, right?
No, they're
They're
American band.
an
they?
American band. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
no shit.
and of course, you know, John Schaefer, he has to have one of the fastest rhythm hands I've ever seen picking.
Oh, no
and
shit.
tense, and fucking tense. So yeah, seen them live a few times and got to actually meet him at a VIP thing. One
Oh,
year
cool.
too.
That's awesome, dude.
So I agree.
All right. Motorhead.
Go ahead.
Records, I don't know as much. For me, it's more individual songs.
Okay.
Like, I could listen to the song Overkill 50 times in a row and not
Yeah.
get sick of it.
Great
So,
song.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think. I think what is that? Is that Texas Bandits or something? And I'm trying to think of the name of the album that the
That it's on. Yeah, I'm not
Ace
even
of
sure the
Spades,
record
that's
it's
a-
on.
I'm not sure.
is it called?
Chop?
Is it Ace of Spades? Is that the name?
Ace of Spades is an album. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
look
okay.
like Texas Bandits on the cover. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a
Mhm.
killer album.
Are you into the death metal like Carcass? Are you familiar with them?
Heartwork.
Oh yeah, Heartwork's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would go same with Heartwork when it comes to Carcass. Traced in Air was another.
Well, Traced in Air was Cynic.
Cynic. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I'm getting those two mixed up.
It's all right. Okay, Dio.
Ooh. Now this, I like, again, I was underexposed to Dio. So I love songs like Rainbow in the Dark and Last in Line and stuff, but I couldn't name an entire record, man.
Well, Last in
that-
Line is an album name, so there you
Oh,
go.
right,
I
okay.
was gonna say Last in Line is
Just made it by the skin of my
Just
teeth.
got it in, man. You keep your metal card today.
Oh,
And so Dio.
I Last in Line for sure.
Oh, Last Line. Okay,
Oh.
cool.
Killer. Yeah, such
Yeah.
good, so good.
Oh yeah. The Beatles.
Oh, we've talked about that.
oh man, I can't. Rubber Soul, man. You know, I wanted to say like I can't. I don't know.
There are
That's
so
a
many
tough one for
tracks
you.
on both of those. Those are a toss up. I love Revolver.
Yeah.
You know, particularly the last track. You know, it's just like, okay, now we're going into a new territory here. You know.
Yeah.
I'm a Sgt. Pepper's guy.
Yeah. Great.
Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. I love it, dude. It's so good.
Yeah. Just the pinnacle of what you can do at the studio, and just all the amazing when you don't have to worry about the pressures of touring, and you just create. Okay, Rush.
I like, again, individual songs, but
Yeah.
I don't know that I could go with a whole record, man.
Okay.
I like Neil Peart is an unarguable genius, and it's a tremendous loss that he's passed away. But like, you're a drummer, there's almost an unspoken code that you're supposed to say that you're obsessed with Neil Peart, and you're supposed to say that you're obsessed with Bonham. And whereas for me, I like what I've heard from both of them, but they're not like my core dudes the way that they are with other people.
Yeah. So I've never have really, not being a tremendous fan of Led Zeppelin or Bonham. Like, it's not that he's a bad drummer. He was, 18 years old, 18 years old, playing these amazing licks. But to me, Peart is like runs circles or plays circles around him. Just the technicality, just like Mike Portnoy and these other drummers are just even going on, even further from those steps. But all that progressive vein. There's just something to it. Well, you had already mentioned the next one is Opeth, and you'd already mentioned Blackwater Park. So if you don't know an album, a song would be fine.
No, you know what? I would go with the My Arms Your Hearse record, man.
Oh yeah, okay, excellent. Are you familiar with their newer stuff at all? Are you listening to like and Vena, and Vena Cauda Vena? What's the new one? Chop the.
It's around that title.
Yeah, or Sorceress, or any of those last couple albums they've done, because they've gone to clean vocals and it's more jazzy. It's more almost more experimental in some ways.
Yeah.
I'm only peripherally aware of that stuff. Like Michael Ackerfeld's death metal scream. It just happens to be one of the sickest vocal tones for that vocal style that I've ever heard.
Yeah.
So I have an attachment sort of to that era.
Okay.
But I do understand, that they've kind of like spaced it out a little bit. They've gone through a pretty significant change sound wise.
I prefer the older stuff where they're mixing more of the death metal and kind of like the almost like folk inspired kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what I love about them. I mean, I was so surprised. It came up as a suggestion on my like computer's jukebox, like, oh, if you like this band, try Opeth. I'm like, who the hell is that? So I just, acquired some songs, shall we say, from a free candy store, and I'm like, oh, these guys are phenomenal, and I just became immediate fans. And that was about the time of the era, with Blackwater Park, and they just listening to them as they progress as a band. That's one thing that's really exciting, is to see how they've changed over time, but still remained like true to the core. It's kind of beautiful.
And their fans has stuck with them like through thick and thin.
That I'll give you that. It seems to me that people who are fans of Opeth, a significant fraction of them, maybe more so than you would see with other bands when they change their sound that much. People are just on the Opeth train, man.
Yeah, it's so good. It's like, and as a musician, I appreciate it. And like, sometimes it takes a little while to warm up to the new stuff, because it's like, again, it's like such a large leap from like, wow, what are you guys doing? But then once you get into it, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. You kind of discover the genius behind it all, So, okay, just a few more in our hot seat. Iron Maiden.
I confess to you, for a very long time, I was not a Priest and Maiden guy, and I only just started doing my homework. We were just on the road recently. We went back on what was it?
We did Iron Maiden, and then we did Killers, and then we got up to Fear of the Dark, I believe.
Yeah, that Murders in the Rue Morgue, dude.
Yeah, that's just what I was gonna say. That's on Killers. Killers is really good, man.
Killers is a good album.
Yeah.
Get that punk inspired kind of stuff coming in, and it all changed the Number of the Beast, even more so in Peace of Mind when Nico McBrain came in. I would agree with you there. Yeah, we were kind of brushing up on all that, because I guess I didn't realize just how many band member changes they had in the beginning. It's like fucking Spinal Tap. It's like 35 members have come through that band. And
except their drummers don't burst into flame.
But once Nico was in the band, I mean, it was like Paul and I were talking about it. He's basically like doing double kick runs on his hi-hats the whole time.
And a single foot, he's got this fast single foot. It's like insane. Like, once I went to a double bass, I never looked back. And it's like I'm watching him like, fuck, man, your foot's just going crazy, you know?
Dude, that you really honestly when you get to the point with Maiden where I guess what you think of as the classic lineup is crystallized and finally comes together, you're listening to him like Run to the Hill. There was stuff that we were listening to where it was like Run to the Hills, like your single stroke roll can't suck.
Yeah.
And you play Run to the Hills. But there was stuff that he was doing with that hand-to-hand single stroke on the hat stuff that was like fucking 20 or 25 BPM faster than that. And I'm like, if this dude was doing a blast beat right now, he could just have the spot in any grindcore band. And the dude is like doing it in the 80s, dude. It was fucking, it made a lot of sense real quick why Maiden are the legends that they are, dude.
Yeah, and they're touring the States now. It's just amazing that like these guys have just to continue to get new audiences. Yeah, this is phenomenal. Okay, two more, and we've only got a few more questions, and then we'll wrap it up and get you guys back to your lovely evening. Okay, two more albums on the hot seat. Slayer.
Oh, Rain in fucking Blood, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, since you said Rain and Blood, I'm gonna switch it up. But I loved God Hates Us All.
Oh,
yes, great album.
I thought God Hates Us All. I mean, especially considering the day it came out. I mean, it's like, it's almost prophetic, you know?
Yeah.
It's such a killer album.
I think one of their best of their more modern era albums. I think it's certainly better than the last couple albums they put out, which just seems just kind of thin, like creatively and melodically. It's just kind of like, but God Hates Us All it's a phenomenal album. Okay, this one's for fun. Kiss. What album from Kiss is your favorite?
Fellas, I missed the boat on Kiss. I did.
Oh, man,
it's
so
kind
sorry
of
for you.
A surprising amount of people say that to me. You're like, you don't know like the rapturous joys, because it's truly a phenomenon.
Yeah, Kiss is an interesting story. Now, I'm not going to tell you I'm a fan of Kiss by any stretch of the imagination, but we were talking about production standpoints, right? And so simply because of the production standpoint, I'm going to go with Kiss Alive. Because you've got they tapped Eddie Kramer, who is famous for engineering and recording Jimi Hendrix back in the day. And he was responsible for getting that big live sound that Kiss was missing on their previous records. That just couldn't be conveyed. So dude, I got to go with Kiss Alive, bro.
All right. Yeah, because Hotter Than Hell was real sludgy. Or not sludgy. Hotter Than Hell is real sludgy, and then you got Dress to Kill, which is real thin and tinny. It's like, come on, can't you guys find a happy middle? But yeah, you're taking a bad live recording and then fixing all the mistakes and adding in and pumping a lot more fake audience noise in. It was a phenomenon. Yeah. No, I totally get it. Speaking of fans, because Chop and I both grew up in the day of Kiss. That was awesome. As a 10-year-old, that's who made me want to be a musician, was Gene Simmons. I want to wear armor and spit blood. What? Come on, look at the fucking boots.
Right, dude.
So okay, we're all fans of other artists. I want to know what your favorite piece of memorabilia is.
Oh. Like that we received at a show.
Yeah, or anything like, you're a fan of somebody else, like a favorite piece of memorabilia, like whether it's an autograph or a t-shirt or something that has meaning to you, or, something that you've gotten from another group or something, a fan, group that you like, your favorite piece of memorabilia.
You know what, man? So now, like, the one thing that I was circling back just for a second to Kiss, the one thing that I will absolutely say from what I can plainly observe about them is that much like a band like the Beatles, Kiss seems responsible for seeding the desire to be a musician or an artist for an unbelievable number of people, man. Because I guess if you're a young kid, you're seeing that display, I could definitely see that kind of getting in there like a tick and being like, that looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, comic book come to life, larger than life characters. It was just like on display, 4 characters that, each have their own personality. You're drawn to one of them for whatever reason. And me being a horror guy, I saw the dragon boots, I saw the spitting the blood and the wearing armor. I'm like, well, fuck, that's all I need, man.
Yeah, exactly right. So
nobody wanted to be Peter Criss, though. So.
Peter Criss didn't want to be Peter Criss,
The drumming style.
But honestly, fellas, that circles back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the pod,
Yeah.
where it was like, yeah, okay, so technically speaking, you might not have been the most impressive technician. Zillionaire boys.
Yeah.
Those dudes can buy all the bite-sized Snickers they want.
Yeah. No
Yeah.
matter like if anybody wants to be the cat guy or anything like that, he's not upset when he gets those Beth checks.
Oh yeah.
Right. Exactly.
The Beth checks, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I get it.
Get back to the idea. So the Contradictions Collapse None sort of double record that Nuclear Blast put out. There's something to me. I was so influenced by Meshuggah. That's something actually that Kyle and I have been doing for a really long time. We can't play any Meshuggah songs, but we worked out between ourselves a proprietary system for how to authentically write in that style. And I got news for you. It doesn't start with him with a guitar, me and a drum set, working out in the room. It's me sitting in my underpants with a cup of coffee with manuscript paper being like, oh, that's going to be so heavy, and so then Meshuggah just affected me so much. The photograph of those dudes on the inside of the Contradictions Collapse None EPs, you just open it up and it's got to be like the late 80s or the early 90s or something. And they're just like these young lions bringing this amazing sound. And it was literally just them, like their faces, dude, standing in front of some industrial park somewhere. It didn't have all of like the pomp and the larger than life energy of an image of somebody like Gene Simmons. But that was almost in that case what appealed to me about it. It's just like they just look like they're these regular dudes, bump into them at a supermarket and wouldn't think twice. But then they get on stage and they're making this like legendary transcendent art in a genre of music that's hard, for a lot of reasons, because it's so loud so much and everything. There's so much pressure and intensity, to create music that beautiful. I was just like, I don't know, that's such a cool picture to me. To this day, I love that photograph, man.
Nice.
And for me, I caught a Dimebag Darrell guitar pick on.
You never told me that, dude.
Yeah, I still have it's got Cowboys from Hell on one side, and on the other side you flip it over and it says Dimebag Darrell Smoke Whiskey on it. And it's I've got it, keep it downstairs. It's like in my box of like stuff, you know what I mean? That way I never lose it. Keep it with like my passport, my social security card.
You can let your passport expire. Just show them the pic. They'll let you go anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
That's it. Nice. And our last question that we'd like to ask, what are your plans for 2023? You just finished the tour. Are you going to have like new music? Are you going to go back on tour or something else? Doing a movie like, Pathos and Logos meet the Phantom of the Park or something like that?
That's funny. Lots of plans for 2023 already. We just got word from our booking agent this weekend that we've started to get booked into April already. So we're already heading out to, well, we can't tell you yet, but
that's cool.
Yeah, we're already heading out on tour starting in April. New music is on the way. We were actually just going over some of the new tunes right now before this started up. Let's see here. What else?
Well, definitely in terms of our stage performance, one of the things that's baked in pretty at the base fundamental level of what we do is that we kind of came up with, I'm not comfortable calling it our own religion or something, but definitely our own sort of like spiritual and inner path that is based off of music and based off of the system of language and iconography that we created. And I brought the book, Kyle. Maybe I'll show him the book. But and so one of the things that we're definitely going to do is kind of we present what we do on stage sort of as a ritual. And so the ritualistic or the Kabbalistic element that we've baked in, we're going to kind of ramp that up for next year.
Oh, nice. It's kind of like Baby Metal meets the Illuminati. you know.
You're not wrong.
No,
I mean,
you're
like,
Yeah, nice. I hope we need to bring like raincoats. You're not gonna be like splattering us with blood like at a Gallagher show. We're not gonna be doing anything like that. Or
no,
only in the
well,
first 3 rows, kids. Right? You know?
that's right. Well, so basically, I have to show you now.
Yeah, please.
You have to see it. But so we've got a couple of these books. This is the most recent one that we made. It's not complete yet, but what you see on the inside of it
Oh yeah, nice. Oh wow,
is
that's awesome.
Very cool.
like
It's
novel
like the
language.
Necronomicon. You know, don't fucking summon the
Yeah.
demons with that one.
Fellas, I don't say this to a lot of people, but like I'm a Lovecraft guy.
Oh,
Kind of problematic because the dude was so racist. Like so,
Yeah.
it's
You got to
it
give it.
affects-
I can separate artists from art.
Yeah.
You know, and then when you understand the racism came from more being like an arrogant fucking New Englander versus just like we're the cream of the crop and everyone else is shit. You can understand a little bit more, but still,
Time
his fucking
period.
Yeah,
writing,
it-
his writing.
yeah,
man,
so
is-
his writing, dude, and so like you're familiar with him. They
Yeah.
say that the Necronomicon's original name in Arabic was Al Azif. So I do sort of refer to this as my own personal Al Azif.
Nice.
But-
The Necronomicon is great. I had it in college. You know, I read it and I was hoping to summon demons with it. No, I totally get it, man.
Well,
That's
so we're keeping away from the demon thing. I just want to
Okay,
state that
sure,
in
sure.
no uncertain terms. But
Okay.
every sigil that you see
Mhm.
is connected to a rhythm. And so the use of those rhythms in our music essentially makes each song a de facto spell.
Nice.
And
Oh,
so
wow.
that's kind of
Okay.
our most recent record, which we created an album format for. We created an album format called the Codex, trying to square the circle of how do you give somebody the physical talisman like you have with a cassette tape or a CD or a vinyl? But what do you do when everybody's record player is their phone now?
Yeah.
Right.
So comes as a tarot card set, or also comes in like a coffee table book format with the album art, which we believe in pretty intensely. You wanted to make sure that was relevant again. And then on the back, it's QR codes, so you can access the music and tour stuff on the back.
Nice.
Ultimately, yeah, just that our most recent record was supposed to function unto itself as like a ritual, the 4 songs.
Sure.
And then the next one is definitely almost as if each song is going to be its own ritual.
I love that.
So
That's awesome.
weirder.
I hope your
That's
concert
brilliant.
t-shirt reminds me of Black Sabbath Mob Rules in some way, shape, or form. I mean, that is like one of the most metal, violent, creepy album covers of all time, so
Love.
that is really fucking sweet, guys. I mean, seriously, that is like awesome.
Thank you, man.
Thanks.
Brilliant.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Really brilliant.
When I do want to find out, like whenever you're releasing the tour notes, I do hope there's a stop in Ohio. That would be nice in the Cleveland area, but you don't have to say anything. It's okay. We can wait until we're done recording. But I just want to thank you. Oh, but wait, hold on. Before we go, we always ask our guests if you wouldn't mind doing a bumper for us. This is
Oh,
Pathos and
yeah.
Logos, and you're watching and listening to heavy metal horror. Would you be able to do something like that for us?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic. I will let you go.
All right. Hey everyone, I'm Kyle.
And I'm Paul.
Together we're Pathos and Logos, and you're listening to
Heavy metal horror.
Thank you so much.
Right.
And I want to thank you guys for being on the show. This has been just so much fun to ask you some questions and to get to know you. And just thank you for taking some time to spend it with us.
No, thanks for having us, fellas. Hopefully we could do it again. This was great.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I know we get excited, so we just start talking and stuff like that.
No, that's fine.
but-
We've had a blast with you.
Yeah,
we
let's
would
definitely.
love for you to
thank
come
you.
back. Yeah.
Oh, please,
sometime
please,
next
please.
year. Yeah. Next year would be great. We sometime when we'll find out when the tour is, but yeah, we'd love to have you back on. That'd be great.
Awesome.
Yeah, let's do it. Consider it done, homie.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
All right.
Well,
Thank you.
yeah, we're going to do our commercial and we're going to get out of here, and we're going to invite you to say Heavy Metal Horror with us. So, all right. Hey, you can find Heavy Metal Horror on unsaneradio.com. Listen to full episodes or download to your device. You can find us on Facebook, Heavy Metal Horror Podcast. On Instagram, look for Montag Lewis, one word. Our YouTube page, Heavy Metal Horror Podcast. If you're watching, that's probably where you're at. And we're also, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. And we're also on Roku, Hotel Metal Jam. If you know someone who'd like our show, tell them about us. This has been Montag, Master of Illusion.
Chop top.
And you've been watching and listening to, all right, guys, bring up the horns. Heavy Metal Horror.
This is Doug Helvering, and you have been listening to Heavy Metal Horror, the best podcast that you've never heard before.